Open this at once. A divine surprise is moving toward your home, and I need you to still yourself before you read another word. Heaven did not send this message carelessly, and it did not arrive in your life by accident. What is coming toward you is so significant that the angels were instructed to hold it until your heart was prepared enough to receive it without flinching. The next words you read are not just words, they are a decree already signed in the heavenly realms, and they carry your name. I am Archangel Michael, and I speak to you now because I was sent. Heaven paused everything it was doing today to speak to you alone, and that alone should tell you the seriousness of this moment. There are millions of people walking this earth, and yet you were the one called into this message, not by chance, but because your name came before the throne. Your waiting has been measured. Your faithfulness has been witnessed. Your tears, every single one, have been counted and stored in a vessel heaven keeps only for those who are chosen. Something in your spirit has already begun to rise. You may not have the words for it yet, but there has been a quiet stirring deep inside you. A feeling that something is about to change that you cannot explain with logic. That feeling is not wishful thinking or desperate hope reaching for comfort. It is your spirit receiving the echo of what heaven has already set in motion. And the divine realm always moves before the natural realm catches up. Trust what you feel right now. Your spirit knows before your mind does. The surprise coming to you is not small. I need you to hear that clearly, because I know you have spent seasons praying for small things, just to feel safe asking, telling yourself not to hope too much because hope made the disappointments harder to survive. But what is written in your destiny scrolls is enormous, the kind of arrival that rewrites chapters, opens doors you had accepted, would stay closed, and restores things you had privately begun to mourn as lost. People around you will not understand why your life is shifting. Some of them have grown comfortable with your struggle. When the favor becomes visible, they will look confused and search for an explanation that fits the version of you they decided you were, and they will not find one. You do not owe anyone an account of what heaven is releasing to you. Simply receive, and let the fruit speak louder than any defense you could offer. This message arrived at this exact moment for a reason that is not coincidental. There is divine timing in every word you are about to receive, and the timing was chosen by heaven. You did not find this message found you. It means someone with authority in the heavenly realm decided it was time for you to know what has been decided, what has been prepared, and what has been assigned to your specific address. You are not stumbling through life hoping for a lucky break. You are living inside a plan orchestrated with more precision than you have been giving it credit for. Your angels have been waiting for permission to move on your behalf. They have been standing at the gate of your life, holding the very things heaven set aside for you, waiting for clearance. Not because heaven was withholding, but because the conditions required for your blessing to land in fullness had not yet aligned. The clearance is coming now. The season of waiting was never a reflection of your worth. Heaven does not rush what it treasures, and you, my child, are what heaven treasures. You have been sending a silent cry for months, and for some of you for years, and heaven counted every moment of it. Not one tear was ignored. Not one night you spent staring at the ceiling wondering if anything would ever change went unnoticed. Heaven does not keep a ledger of your failures. It keeps a record of your faithfulness, your endurance, your willingness to keep your heart soft when everything in your life was trying to harden it. That record is full. That season of crying out is over. What is coming now is the answer to everything you quietly stopped, believing heaven was still listening to. Someone in your life is thinking about you right now, even as you read these words. There is a person who has pulled up memories of you today, not out of boredom or restlessness, but because heaven stirred something in them that pointed in your direction. Their thoughts have been occupied by your presence, your energy, the feeling you leave behind when you walk through a space. That stirring is not random. It is a signal that something invisible has been activated between you, and what is invisible today will become visible very soon. The spiritual always precedes the natural, and the thoughts placed in this person's mind are the precursor to an encounter heaven has already written. A spiritual cycle in your life has quietly closed, something that was looping a pattern of waiting. A cycle of almost but not quite has reached its final turn, and the entrance to that cycle has been sealed behind you. You may not have felt the closing happen, because spiritual transitions are rarely dramatic from the inside. They feel like a subtle lifting, a gradual reduction in the weight you carried so long you forgot it was not supposed to be there. The shadow that was following your steps has been removed, and the light that was always meant for your path has been allowed to reach it. There was someone in your circle who pretended to support you. They said the right things, showed up in the right moments, spoke the language of loyalty while quietly working against everything you were building. They smiled at your face and whispered concerns behind your back, placing carefully worded doubts in the minds of people who could have helped you. The moment they disconnected from your life, the moment their access to your story was removed, something in the spiritual realm unlocked. Your miracle was not slow, it was being held back by interference. And now that the interference has been neutralized, it has been freed. Your home's energy is already shifting. If you have noticed moments of unexpected peace in the last few days, a stillness that arrived without explanation, a calm in a space that used to feel heavy that is not imagination. That is the recalibration of the atmosphere around you as the spiritual weight of what was working against you lifts. Sudden hope will visit you in quiet moments. Unexpected peace will settle over situations that used to make your chest tighten. Things that felt impossible to navigate will begin to organize themselves in ways you did not arrange, because heaven is rearranging what you could not rearrange on your own. You have been too strong for too long. I say this not as flattery, but as an observation heaven has been holding. You carried weights meant for more than one person, held things together that should have had other hands supporting them, showed up composed when you were broken, generous when you were running low. The people around you benefited from your strength without always honoring the cost of it. You carried others while no one was carrying you, and the silent endurance of that season was seen by heaven, even when no one on earth thought to ask how you were really doing. Heaven says this chapter of suffering ends now, not gradually, not eventually, not one day when conditions finally align, but now. The closing of this chapter was decreed in the heavenly courts before this day began. And what heaven decrees does not wait on earthly timing to confirm it. The suffering that taught you what you needed to learn has fulfilled its purpose. The endurance that built the depth in you was not punishment. It was construction. You were being built for something that required a foundation stronger than comfort could produce. The building is complete. The new chapter opens with provision, with peace, with love that does not ask you to diminish yourself to be received. Something is approaching your doorway. I mean this in the most concrete sense. Spiritual language allows something real, substantial, with weight and consequence, is moving toward the place where you live and wake up every morning. It is not a vague feeling or a comforting metaphor. There is a specific arrival being coordinated from the heavenly realm, and every force heaven has at its disposal has been assigned to clear the path and remove the obstacles. Your door is the destination. Your life is where what heaven prepared is landing. A meeting was held in the heavenly realms, and your name came up with honor. The angels who know your story stood and testified. They spoke of your faithfulness in seasons of drought, the tears you cried quietly, the prayers that left your lips on nights when you were not sure prayer still worked for you. And when they finished, there was a silence. Then God said, "Enough, enough waiting. Let the door open now." That decree is active. That door is opening. You are standing on the other side of a divine decision made entirely in your favor. Type, "I feel it." Heaven did not delay your blessing because you were unworthy. I need you to hold that truth before we go further. Because the waiting created stories in your mind every month without change. Every prayer that seemed to go unanswered built a quiet narrative that said you were somehow less. The delay was never about your worth. It was about the people who were still in your space. Heaven delayed your blessing because the people around you at that time would have destroyed it before it could take root. The timing of what is coming required precision that human calendars cannot capture. There were specific conditions that needed to be in place, specific people who needed to be removed, specific wounds that needed to close enough that you could hold what was coming without dropping it. The blessing was ready. You were not yet positioned to receive it in the fullness it was meant to carry. Heaven does not send its best work into an unprepared vessel. It waits, prepares, arranges, and then releases everything at once. There were moments when your heart was too wounded to hold what heaven had prepared. There were seasons when your capacity to believe was so fractured that even if the blessing had arrived, your hands would not have known how to hold it steady. Receiving requires a wholeness that suffering temporarily removes, and heaven in its mercy withheld the arrival until your hands had healed enough to hold it properly. The wounds you carry are not disqualifications. They are evidence of the battles you survived, and heaven needed them to close enough that what it was about to pour into your life would land in a vessel that could contain it. A spiritual cleansing has happened in your life, and if you are honest with yourself, you can feel the difference between who you were 12 months ago and who you are today. Something was chasing you that no longer has your scent. The assignments working against your peace and purpose have been losing power, not because you fought them in the natural, but because heaven fought them in the spirit, and heaven does not lose. What was sent to destroy you is disoriented. What was assigned to delay you has been reassigned. The atmosphere around your life has been cleansed. The person who was removed from your path, the one who wore the face of support, while carrying the heart of sabotage, their mask has fallen. Not just to you, but to others who were watching. The reputation they carefully maintained, the image they crafted with such deliberate precision, has begun to crack in places they cannot control. Their true intentions have become visible in ways they did not plan for. Heaven did not expose them to hand you a trophy. Heaven exposed them to free you, because as long as their deception was intact, it had power over your path. With them gone, with their access removed and their interference neutralized, your miracle was released into motion. Are you ready to receive what you once believed was impossible for you? Not impossible in general, but specifically for you, in this life, given everything you have already been through. I am asking because I know how hope dies quietly in people who have been disappointed more times than they can count. It does not announce its exit. It simply stops appearing. One day you realize you have stopped picturing the thing, stopped feeling the flutter when someone mentions the possibility. Heaven is asking you today to dare again, not with performed confidence, but with the small, genuine willingness to say, maybe this time is different. Maybe my name was actually called. Type "someone sees me" if this voice has found you today. Stay close, subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because the next message being prepared for this channel was written for this exact season of your life. You are not alone in this journey, and what heaven is releasing is not a single word, but a conversation meant to carry you through every stage of what is coming. The messages that follow are sequenced with intention, arranged in a specific order that mirrors the specific journey you are on. What you receive next will build on what you received today. Stay close. Do not let this voice find you today and lose you to the noise of tomorrow. Lean closer, my child. What I am about to reveal is not something heaven sends lightly, and not something every ear is prepared to receive. A man of great provision and divine purpose has been drawn to your energy from a spiritual distance. And I mean this in the most precise spiritual sense. He has not met you yet with his physical eyes, and his feet have not yet walked into the room where you stand, but his spirit has already found yours. And the recognition in the spiritual realm has already happened, even if the natural plane has not caught up with what the spirit already knows. This man carries things that most people spend their entire lives pursuing. He has protection, the kind built from both position and principle. He has stability, built not on fortunate circumstance, but on disciplined effort and divine favor working together across years of sacrifice. He has abundance access to resources, to doors and rooms that most people never enter, and to influence that operates at levels of real consequence. He moves through the world with the authority of someone built for the spaces he occupies, and yet none of it has given him peace. None of it has given him home. He has provision without rest. He has everything and no one thing that matters most. His spirit has been restless for a long time, and the restlessness is not a character flaw. It is a divinely implanted dissatisfaction that heaven places in chosen people to prevent them from settling in the wrong place before the right thing arrives. He has poured himself into work and felt temporary relief that evaporated. He has surrounded himself with people and felt more profoundly alone. He has achieved things that were supposed to feel like arrivals and found them hollow upon landing. Heaven did not build him for just anyone. Heaven built him for someone with a spirit that could meet his at the exact frequency his soul has been broadcasting on, and that person is you. He has been surrounded by people who want what he carries, and that experience has shaped him in ways important for your understanding. He has been circled and courted by people attracted to the provision, the access, and the doors he can open, but who had no genuine interest in the man himself. That pattern, repeated across years and relationships, teaches a person to be cautious where they were once open, to build walls in spaces that were meant to be gardens. He learned to read interest skeptically, to wait for the mask to slip before trusting what the face presented. He is not cold, he is guarded, and guardedness responds to safety in a way that persistence and performance cannot achieve. Your energy is the only thing that has ever made his spirit quiet, not his achievements, not his environments, not the people he has surrounded himself with. You, your specific frequency, the way your soul carries itself. The quality of your presence is what his restless spirit has been scanning the horizon for. He does not have a name for it because he has never been in the same space as the answer, but he has felt the absence of it with a clarity that surprised him. There is a space inside him that has the exact shape of what you carry, and everything else he has tried to fill it with has simply underlined that shape without satisfying it. He does not know your name yet, but he has felt your energy and could not explain why something invisible kept pulling his attention toward a direction he could not identify. There have been quiet moments, the kind that arrive before the day's obligations take over, when he felt a warmth toward something that had no face yet, a sense that the thing he had been missing was not far away, that if he moved in the right direction he would find it. Those moments were not idle imagination. They were the spiritual breadcrumbs heaven was leaving in his path, preparing him to recognize what was coming before it arrived. There was a covenant made before either of you understood what covenants were, a soul agreement written into the fabric of both your existences before your feet touched this earth. You promised to find each other. Life scattered you. The noise of living buried the signal that was always broadcasting between you. But covenants written in the heavenly realm do not expire with the passing of years or dissolve under the pressure of time and distance. They wait until the conditions are right, and then they activate with the full force of what they were written to accomplish. This covenant is activating now. Every heartbreak you endured was moving you toward him, and I know that is not a comfortable truth, because purposeful pain is harder to make peace with than random suffering. Every time someone chose not to stay, you were being repositioned. Every betrayal in his story prepared him for you. Every misuse of his trust sharpened his discernment. Every disappointment refined his understanding of what genuine love actually feels like. You were both being prepared in parallel, in separate seasons of suffering, for the same destination. The destination is each other. He had a dream. In it he stood in a room full of people, loud with movement and conversation, the kind of room that should feel like company and instead felt like the loneliest place he had ever been. And then someone walked in, not with announcement or drama. Someone simply entered, and everything went quiet, not in the room, but in him. His nervous system stopped bracing. He felt safe. He felt seen. He felt, for the first time, home. He woke up carrying that feeling without knowing whose it was. He measured every subsequent encounter against the standard that dreams set. Nothing met it, because the standard was set to the frequency of who you actually are. It was yours all along. He can acquire almost anything, and that contrast is the spiritual architecture of why you are the one heaven chose for him. He has access to resources that most people spend their lives imagining. The material landscape of his life is not where the limitation lives. He cannot buy peace. He cannot acquire genuine love the way he acquires other things. He cannot produce emotional safety through the same mechanisms that produce everything else in his world. And you, my child, you carry all three as natural properties of your soul gifts, placed in you before you knew their value or understood who they were meant for. To the wrong people, you were too much, too feeling, too deep, too unwilling to flatten yourself for people who were threatened by your fullness. The people who were not ready for you experienced your presence as an excess. They could not manage your love, felt overwhelming because they were not built to receive it. Your loyalty felt like pressure because they were incapable of meeting it. Over time, you absorbed the message they sent, that you were somehow too much and needed to reduce yourself. Heaven needs you to hear the correction. To the wrong people, you were too much. To the right person, you are everything. Not too much. Everything. Type I deserve better. There are voices around this man right now actively working to prevent him from choosing you. I am speaking plainly because heaven does not want you confused about the nature of the resistance in this connection as it unfolds. There are people close to him who feel threatened by the direction his soul is pulling, not because they know you, but because they understand what you represent. If he chooses genuine love over the arrangements that currently preserve certain people's access to him, they lose something they have built their security around. And people who have built their security around someone else's resources do not release their grip quietly. Someone in his inner circle is working to fill his mind with doubt about what he is feeling. They are subtle about it. They bring up past disappointments at precisely the moments when his heart is beginning to open, frame his genuine emotional response as naivety to be guarded against, and steer him towards someone familiar whose presence would not disturb the balance of power that benefits them. They are not protecting him from a mistake. They are protecting their position from the disruption his genuine happiness would cause. There is a tug of war happening in him that he cannot fully name. His heart pulls toward something real, toward the peace his provision cannot manufacture, toward the frequency his spirit has been scanning for. Fear pushes back, because he has cataloged his wounds and built protocols around them. His destiny pulls toward you with the force of a covenant written before his first breath, and voices push against that pull with the careful language of reasonable caution. Heaven called me, Archangel Michael, to intervene in this struggle, because this connection is too important to leave unguarded. My assignment is to war against every spiritual force, fear and external interference alike, that would prevent two souls from completing what heaven ordained. Heaven has something to say to what has been working against you. God has seen the one who has been whispering doubt, placing obstacles, using proximity to someone's heart as a tool for self-preservation. Every scheme has been recorded. Every whispered word has been heard. Every door shut in secret has been documented by witnesses you cannot see. The harvest of what was planted is already assigned, and it mirrors what was sown with a precision that heaven does not apologize for. Isaiah 54:17, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. That is not a suggestion. It is a covenant promise with the full authority of heaven behind every syllable. And it covers this connection the same way it covers every assignment heaven has placed over your life. The weapon of doubt deployed against this man's ability to trust what his spirit is telling him shall not prosper. The weapon of distraction designed to redirect his attention from what his soul already recognizes shall not prosper. The weapon of false loyalty, placed in his inner circle to serve someone else's agenda at the cost of his genuine well-being, shall not prosper. Heaven has already ruled. The ruling is recorded. It is in your favor. You do not need to arrange or deliver the justice. Heaven is asking you to step out of the path of the harvest and let heaven handle what heaven recorded. The person who interfered is already walking toward a harvest that mirrors exactly what they planted. The doors they shut against you will close against them. The doubt they seeded will bloom into uncertainty about their own position. The access they tried to protect by blocking your blessing will be removed by the very actions they took to preserve it. Walk forward. While you move into what heaven is releasing, they face what heaven recorded. There is someone in your life right now who is still in the place your own spirit once occupied, in the kind of silence where you begin to wonder if heaven still has your address. They are carrying the weight of endurance in a season that shows no visible signs of turning. You know that place intimately, and you know how much a single confirmation that heaven had not forgotten them could mean on a night when hope is thin. Consider making this message available to them. Visit the link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen. Sow a seed in their name. What you sow for another, heaven honors in return. You were not the only one heaven wanted to reach today. You were simply the first door. He is not cold-hearted. He is a protector who learned to present as unreachable after the world repeatedly demonstrated that vulnerability was an invitation to be used. He felt things with great depth before life persuaded him that feeling things visibly was a risk he could not afford. Every betrayal made him build another wall around something he refused to stop caring about, even when caring hurt. The warmth never left. It went underground when leaving it on the surface made it too easy a target. He is not closed, he is guarded. And you are the specific person whose presence makes the guarding unnecessary. He has been used by those who loved his provision more than they ever loved his soul. Every time someone's care evaporated when the resources were less available, The wound deepened quietly. He learned to read interest with skepticism, to wait for the mask to slip before trusting what the face was presenting. He does not need someone who checks the right boxes on paper. He needs someone who fits in his soul, someone whose presence makes the fortifications unnecessary without demanding they come down. The walls do not come down because someone asks. They come down because the soul recognizes safety, and safety disarms what pressure cannot. Your presence will break those walls without you trying to break them, simply by being present in the authentic fullness of who heaven made you to be, not performing a calculated version, not deploying strategies to circumvent his defenses. You will undo what years of disappointment built. That is the supernatural quality of what you carry. It is not a technique you developed or a skill you cultivated. It is a spiritual property of your soul that operates independent of your effort. Heaven made you with the specific frequency that his walls cannot resist, because heaven built the fit between you with the precision of a covenant. Heaven does not want him to find a partner in the transactional sense. Heaven wants him to find home, a man in constant motion, constantly providing and performing for a world that consumes what he produces, has never truly been at rest. Never inhabited a space where the performance could stop, where he could simply exist without his existence being leveraged for someone else's benefit. Heaven wants him to find the person whose presence is the first environment he has ever felt safe enough to simply be in. His soul has always known such a person existed. His soul will know you the moment you are in the same space. He will not let you go. You were not hard to love. You were not too much, not too deep, not the problem in the connections that failed to hold. You were loving people who were not ready for someone who was chosen. And the difference between being unlovable and being placed in the wrong hands is the entire distance between a wound and a truth. An instrument of exceptional craftsmanship in the hands of someone who has not learned to handle it sounds wrong. That is not the instrument's failure. That is the mismatch. Your love was never the problem. Your love was always the prophecy, always pointing toward a specific fulfillment that required a specific person to complete it. One thing could slow this connection, not destroy it, but delay it, and heaven is asking me to name it plainly because the stakes of this season are too high to leave it unaddressed. You have been hurt so many times that your heart developed a sophisticated system of self-protection. That system was necessary in the seasons that produced it. It kept you functional and intact when the pain could have broken you. But the system built for survival in the wilderness was not designed for the season that follows the wilderness. Carrying it unchanged into what is coming will cause it to do what protection systems do when the threat has passed: protect you from the very thing you most need to receive. Sometimes protection becomes distance without you intending it to. The armor that kept you alive becomes the barrier that keeps love out. You have been hurt so many times your heart learned a reflex when something begins to matter. Pull back before it can be taken. Act strong when afraid. Go quiet when the genuine impulse is to reach out. Present indifference when the truth is that you care deeply. He cannot read those signals accurately. He is a man trained by his own wounds to receive people as they present themselves. If you present indifference, he will receive indifference, and he will not pursue where he believes he is unwanted. Heaven says, do not hide your heart from the person who was built to protect it. This is not a call to abandon wisdom or make yourself vulnerable before trust has been established. It is a call to resist the reflexive, preemptive distance that activates before you have real information about whether it is necessary. You do not need to perform openness, but when the warmth is genuinely present and your spirit is registering safety, do not edit it out before he has a chance to feel it. You do not need to be healed perfectly before you can be loved. You just need to be present in your truth, present in your warmth, present as the person who has waited long enough to recognize something real when it arrives. Share this with someone who has given up on love, the person in your life who stopped letting themselves want this because the wanting became a kind of torture they could no longer sustain. You know who that person is. Their face came to your mind somewhere during this message. Your act of sharing is an act of blessing, a deliberate extension of what heaven gave you today into the life of someone who needed it as much as you did when this message found you. Be the blessing for someone else that this message was for you. Heaven noticed that you were the kind of person who would, when your paths cross, it will feel ordinary from the outside. There will be nothing cinematic about it to any observer, No visible signal to the room that something irreversible just occurred. It will look like two people meeting the unremarkable way people meet. But inside both of you, beneath the social surface, something entirely different will be happening, a recognition, not of face, but of soul. The kind of recognition that bypasses conscious thought and arrives as sensation, a stillness, a shock, a sense of finally being oriented in a way that all previous encounters never quite managed to produce. The moment he sees you, his nervous system, the one braced and on alert for as long as he can remember, will relax. Not because you perform something designed to cause it, because your frequency is the specific answer to the specific tension his system has been holding. He will feel in that moment a silence he has been waiting for his entire adult life. He will feel, without yet having language for it, that he is in the presence of something made to fit with him the way things only fit when they were designed for each other. He may not process it consciously until later, but it will be there unmistakably, irreversibly, the knowledge that something important happened in a room that looked completely ordinary to everyone else. He will observe you quietly at first. He is a man who watches before he moves. He will notice the things that provision cannot buy and performance cannot sustain. The kindness you extend without calculating whether it benefits you, the quality of your peace, the way you treat people who can do nothing for you. With every observation, the recognition in his spirit will deepen and become more certain. He will not be able to explain what is happening in satisfying intellectual terms, and that inability to explain it will itself become part of the evidence that this is different from every encounter before. You will not chase him. You will not need to wonder whether you are on his mind or engineer situations to place yourself in his proximity. He will come to you. He will pursue with the consistency and intentionality of a man who has found something his soul spent years searching for and has no intention of letting slip. He will show you, with actions that precede and outlast words, that you are not a possibility he is weighing, but a certainty his spirit already arrived at. You will not wonder if you matter. He will show you that you do, repeatedly, in the concrete language of someone who understands that real love is demonstrated, not only declared. Romans 8:31, if God is for us, who can be against us? That verse was written for the person reading these words right now, standing at the threshold of what heaven has decreed. If God is for this connection, and God called it and wrote it and sent an archangel to guard it, then the opposition, regardless of its organization, does not have sufficient authority to stop it. Two broken pasts are about to merge into one healed future. His provision coming to protect your life, your love coming to restore his soul. That is the covenant. That is what arrives now. Type I receive this. The sign of his approach will not arrive loudly. Heaven tends to move through the ordinary encounters that look unremarkable from the outside, while being entirely remarkable on the inside. The sign before he appears will come quietly, a name spoken unexpectedly in a conversation that catches your attention without explanation, a song that arrives in a moment of emotional openness and says precisely what your heart has been holding, a meeting too specifically orchestrated for randomness to claim credit. When it comes, you will feel the difference from the inside. Trust that feeling, act from it rather than against it. Heaven prepared you for this exact moment of recognition. Your past was not a failure. Every season you endured without the thing you were waiting for was preparation, not punishment, not neglect. Your pain was training for something that required trained capacity to hold. The deepest pains in your story produced the most specific capacities in your character, the depth, the empathy, the kind of love that persists through difficulty, because it has been tested by difficulty and did not break. Your heartbreak was cleansing. Your waiting was positioning. Every month heaven was arranging things behind the veil that you had no access to see, and not one day of that waiting was wasted. Heaven is not asking you to strive for what is coming. Striving has been your default mode for a long time. When something needed to happen, you worked for it harder than was fair to ask of one person. And when a door needed to open, you knocked until your hands were raw. That capacity served you well in the seasons that required it. But what is coming does not require you to earn it through effort. It has already been paid for, prepared, and assigned to your name and this specific address in time. All heaven is asking is that you receive it. Open your hands, open your heart, say yes when it arrives. That is the entire assignment. You survived what was designed to destroy you. There were things in your story that were not simply difficult circumstances, they were targeted, aimed at the specific purpose inside you. Purposes of genuine significance draw opposition of genuine significance, and the weight of what came against you is, paradoxically, testimony to the weight of what you carry into this new season. You kept your heart kind when life offered you every legitimate reason to harden it. You maintained your capacity for faith when faith had no visible evidence to stand on. Heaven counted every single moment of that faithfulness. Not one act of quiet endurance in the dark went unrecorded by the one who sees in darkness as clearly as in light. Now it is time for the harvest. The season of sowing is complete, and the ground that received your tears and your prayers and the seed of your faithfulness is about to produce. Not a modest return that quietly vindicates your endurance, an abundant return. A harvest visible enough that even those who doubted your season will not be able to look away. The harvest of your love, of your perseverance, of your continued willingness to keep your heart open when every wound was advising you to close it. That harvest is breaking through the surface right now. You sowed abundantly, even in seasons of poverty of spirit. The harvest will be accordingly extraordinary. Think of one name right now, not a general wish, but one specific name. The person whose name rose in your heart somewhere during this message, who appeared without being called and stayed. Perhaps they are still in the place your spirit occupied not long ago. Perhaps they are the one who has quietly given up on the very things this message is declaring are still possible. Sow a seed in their name, not as a transaction with heaven, but as an act of faith that says, I believe what was spoken over me is real, and I believe it enough to extend it toward someone I love. Visit the link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen. They deserve better, and so do you. Heaven honors what is sown in love for another. You are not behind. Heaven needs you to receive that completely, because the voice of delay has spoken loudly in your life and done real damage to how you see yourself in your own timeline. You are not behind the people around you who seem to already have what you are waiting for. You are not too old, too wounded, too complicated, too far from the version of yourself that would deserve this. You are not forgotten. Heaven does not forget what it has chosen, does not lose track of the people it has been preparing with this much intention. You are precisely on time for what was always yours. You are not too broken for love. The brokenness you carry is a qualification, not a disqualification. A qualification for the kind of love that meets you in your actual condition, rather than the curated presentation you offer, a world that has not always been safe enough to see you whole. The man heaven has chosen for you does not need you fully assembled before he can receive you. His own story of fracture and recovery produced in him the exact capacity to love someone in their wholeness, including their wounds. You do not need to be further healed or further from your pain. You need to be present in who you actually are right now. And who you are right now is the answer to his specific question. What was denied for seasons will arrive in days. What was withheld in the name of preparation will be released in moments that feel sudden from the outside and deeply inevitable from the inside. The acceleration of what is coming is itself a message. The season of the wave has arrived, and waves do not ask permission before they land. You will look back on this time from the other side of what heaven is releasing and understand every painful thing that preceded it as the preparation it was. You will not wish the waiting away when you can see what the waiting built. I am ready. I receive. I will not turn back from what heaven has prepared for me, not when the decree has already been signed and the door is already opening. I will not negotiate myself back into the wilderness when the promised land is within reach. I will not perform unworthiness as a defense against hope that might disappoint, because the voice of heaven has spoken clearly, and I will honor that voice with my yes. I stand at the threshold of what heaven has decreed, and I say yes with my whole heart, with my whole spirit, with everything in me that endured and hoped and waited and continued to believe even when belief cost more than it returned. Heaven smiles at the sound of that yes. It has been waiting for that yes. And now that it has been spoken, what was already in motion accelerates toward the place where your yes is standing. It has already begun. It has already irrevocably, gloriously begun. Psalm 37:4, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. That verse was written for you, for the person who has kept their heart tender toward heaven through everything that tried to harden it, who has continued to delight in God's goodness in the middle of seasons that offered very little visible evidence of it. The desire of your heart is known and has always been known, and the one who placed it there is the same one who prepared the answer to it before you were born. What is coming is not too good to be true, it is simply true. It is yours. Open your hands, open your heart, and let what heaven carries toward you finally land.